welcome to Inside the Memorial as we look across the War Memorial campus, the community, and the region to just bring fun conversations with interesting people to life here to you all. And my name's Maria Miller. I'm president here at the War Memorial, and I'm really excited about today's guest. We have Tommy Dilger, and I should have asked you if am I pronouncing that
that's
correctly?
correct.
All right. He's a videographer, a photographer, you're a history buff, a film director. You got a lot going on at your tender young age. And you have an interest in Super 8 films. Recently graduated, congrats.
Thank you very much.
BFA from Savannah College, which I want to talk to you about that. It was art and design, right?
Mm-hmm.
So degreed in film and television, so super cool. Working on History Fix podcast. So
yes.
Welcome. I'm really excited. Most importantly, Tommy is going to be here June 18th with Skip Liberty because that's why you're here to kind of talk about this whole thing and talk about you and your interest and how you even got there. So,
all right,
thanks.
Sounds good.
Great,
Thank
yay.
you.
So I guess we'll kick it off with asking, how did you get interested in just the passion of film and led you to Savannah?
Yeah. So I guess it all started when I was a little kid. I was really into Star Wars. My parents got me the Star Wars DVD box set, and I loved it. And there was another disc, which was like bonus features. And I was like, I wonder what this is. And put it in the DVD player, and it was like a documentary on how they made Star Wars. And as soon as I watched that, I was like hooked. And I saw like the model ships they had on the blue screens and like blowing them up. And I was like, that's awesome. I want to do that. And I started making like Lego stop motions with my Lego Star Wars
really?
stuff. Oh yeah, they're still on YouTube. I still haven't taken them down.
I love that.
So I did that for a while when I was a kid, and my 6th grade teacher, Mr. Knob, really encouraged it. He's a big reason that I really started getting into it. He would show them to the class and encouraged me to do it, and that was the first time I was like, this is a thing that I can do and not just a little thing I do in my basement for fun.
Right.
And it just kept building. I've never wanted to be anything else other than a filmmaker.
Oh my gosh.
So through high school, my high school film teacher, Mrs. Braun, I made all the senior videos for school. It was my thing. I was the film guy. I was always walking around with a camera. And there was no other question of what I wanted to do. And when it came time for college, I was like, okay, I can't see any other option. This is what I want to do. This is what I love doing. So I applied, applied to CCS, applied to DePaul, applied to Columbia, and SCAD. And I'd been to Chicago before. CCS is here in Detroit. I'm very familiar with it. So my mom and I went to go tour SCAD my senior year of high school. And as soon as I walked downtown and just saw downtown Savannah, I was like, yep, this is it. This is the place. This is where I want to be.
I have never been to Savannah, but I have heard definitely that is the place to be, that it's just gorgeous there.
Oh, it's so amazing. So much history, so much Civil War history, so much Revolutionary War history, and it's just a gorgeous, gorgeous city. I'm staying there for a year. In August I'm going back, and I'm going to stay down there for a year.
So that kind of incited your other interest, which is history.
Yes.
So it wasn't just a film director, of which now I can call you you saw The Fabelmans, I'm sure. So everything you're describing reminds me of the movie.
Oh yeah. I saw The Fabelmans and I was like, this is me. That was me when I was a kid.
Just not my parents, but it's me.
Yeah. I had a better home life, but I never connected more to a film character before. I was like, that's me. I was a kid that just really wanted to make movies.
Yeah, I could hear that from what you were describing, to start that early. So the history part then, and history and film, and it's obviously dovetailing really nice. So what got you into that, or you just always were curious where we began, where we came from?
I was always curious, and my 6th grade teacher, 6th grade they teach everything. So he was just a really good teacher, and taught about history. I was really interested in it. I was in Cub Scouts and Boy Scouts, and my interest in history really kicked off when we went to Wolcott Mill to see a Civil War reenactment. They don't do that event anymore, which kind of sucks. But
right.
I was super young. I have a picture of me holding a musket when I was a kid, and that's where I was like, this is awesome. I want to do this. And I waited until I was 16, and there's another reenactment over in Chesterfield that I've been going to for a long, long time. And I was always really interested in history, and historical like documentaries. I watched Ken Burns' Civil War when I was really young, and I was like, wow, this is great. And even my parents were like, this is boring.
Where'd this kid come from?
Yeah. But yeah, I got really into that, and I've been going to that World War II reenactment for years until I turned 16, and I got the courage to ask someone like, hey, I'm kind of interested in doing this. Like, what do I need to do? And he was like, oh, let me take you to our like company CEO, and he'll tell you what you need to do and get in touch. And he told me what I needed to do, told me what I needed to buy, said like, get this book, research this, read all this, and then come out to your first event. And like a month later, I was at my first World War II reenactment, and it just snowballed from there.
What part did you play?
I was a reporter. I was a photographer.
Were you? Oh, that's cool.
I started off like, I still do it pretty much as my main impression, pretty much, where I was like, I'm gonna roll my filmmaking stuff into history and reenacting, and got really into researching war photographers. I'm still into it, and I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna portray. I'm gonna take pictures on film and shoot 8 and 16 millimeter motion picture and like do it like they actually did it.
That is amazing. That is amazing. And this is all about you, but I just have to tell you, I have a BFA graduate, my daughter, but she stayed here at Wayne State, and she moved out to Burbank. She wanted LA, wanted to get into acting. But boy, it's so tough. But she always had that director bug, and she, I always picture that she'd probably be better at. But I think it's been so tough that she's just probably, I don't know. We'll see where she goes with it. I hope she doesn't give up. But
the acting world is
but boy,
really
that's
tough.
a really tough major, tough in terms of. But you've got such a line of what it is you want to do, and you're already making things happen, which is really super fun. And I know, learning from her, they get together as their friends, and she's just got her whole people who are out that way, and that they make creative projects all the time. So you've probably been doing that, because I think you've got even the students, your fellow students and classmates have made interesting films. So I'm sure you support each other in
absolutely.
your work endeavors.
Oh yeah, there's like a huge culture, especially at SCAD, of working on other student films. Like if you're a film major and you're not working on other people's films like every other weekend, every weekend sometimes, like you're like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like we all just put out like a crew call and a casting call where we're like, we need this, we need that, we need this, we're shooting a project for whatever, and people just message you and just be like, hey, I got experience doing this and this, I know whoever. And I've made some of my like best friends that I still talk to this day from just being one of my friends just being like, hey, I need a boom op. You want to come to like Missouri and be a boom op and shoot this film? And I'm like, yeah.
So you have to tell me what that is.
Yeah, so actually it was Arkansas, not Missouri. So it was a senior thesis film about 2 years ago, and we shot in an underground nuclear missile silo, decommissioned, and now it's an Airbnb. It's called Titan Ranch. So
it's an
we went
Airbnb?
there. Yeah, and it's the best Airbnb ever. If we had like...
Did you guys stay there too?
Oh yeah, if we had like 20 less people, it would have been awesome, because we all, like, the actors and the directors and some other people got beds. The rest of us had blow-up mattresses on the floor. So it was like a big sleepover for like 5 days.
Oh,
it was really fun.
I bet that's a really good time.
Oh yeah.
Okay, all right, but boom mop?
Yeah, like, holding the mic.
boom, okay.
Yeah, holding the boom mic.
I should...
Which I was in sound for a little while. I already kind of knew how to do that when I went into SCAD, so that was kind of like my shtick for a little bit. And then I got into documentary filmmaking and directing, and I'm like, I don't need to do that anymore.
Wow, I want to know about this Airbnb, but we'll talk later.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like, it was really cool. We had a great time.
Oh, my
We didn't see
gosh.
the sun for like 3 days because we were
wow.
underground and shooting all day. And by the time
That's
we
like
came up,
insane.
it was dark, but it was still fun. Like, a bunch of the people on that set I still talk to this day. One of them lives in New York. I went and visited him over the winter, and yeah.
So do you have any of your buddies that are as interested in the history angle as you are?
At SCAD, not so much. Like, there's a couple of my friends at SCAD that I've made friends with the reenactors that work at like Fort Jackson, Fort Pulaski, and portray history there. But at SCAD, not so much. Like, it's not. I'm kind of like the odd one out with being interested in history.
But I
at
think
SCAD.
it gives you that unique edge and perspective. And I mean, going forward, I think that is something. There's not as many of you, right? So you're not all clawing for the same thing, and you can create any type of content you want. Yeah, so the history angle is really pretty fascinating to me. I think that that's a fun mix with your skill set, and to be able to pull that all together. Now, for me, history was my least favorite subject in school, but I'm just a tad older than you are. And it was very boring back the way they taught it. And I remember having a conversation with a family member and telling her, it was so boring, and I wish that we had like plays like Hamilton and movies that were out now that that our instructors could have taught. And she turned me on to the podcast History That Doesn't Suck as a result of that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I wish he was my professor. And Greg Jackson, love you. I really wish that I could have learned from somebody like that. So tell me about History Fix. How did that, History Fix, right?
Yes, History Fix.
Yeah. So how'd you get involved with that?
So I got involved in that, like a lot of things, through reenacting, where a good friend of mine, I'd been reenacting with him for a little while, and he was like, hey, I need to introduce you to my friend. We stood up in each other's weddings. He's the director of photography at Chicago Fire now. And I was like, really? That's really cool. And they introduced me, and we got to talking, and his name's Will Eichler. He had founded this streaming service called History Fix based in Michigan. And I had basically just finished up making Skip Liberty, and I was sending him cuts and asking for critique and like notes and stuff. And when it was done, he was like, well, I'd love to have it for History Fix. And I was like, really? Like, I was just going to put this on YouTube. And like, it went to History Fix quite a while ago, over a year ago now. I finished it in 2023.
Right.
So it went to History Fix. We do now, since I guess I'm a partner, we do like Civil War Digital Digest, Revolutionary Gazette, about the Revolutionary and Civil Wars. I host a series there called Victory Journal, and it's about the Allied powers during World War II. We put out an episode last month about the B-17 and like the responsibilities of each member of the B-17 crew. We shot that in the National Museum of the Mighty 8th Air Force down in Savannah, and we're gonna be putting out some more episodes. So yeah, I just got involved with that through reenacting, and now Will and I are working together all the time. That's half the reason I came back up here, is to work on some more stuff with him and shoot more Victory Journal. Right.
It is amazing how one thing leads to another, one connection, one piece of network, and it just evolves, which is what happened with James Skip Liberty. So
exactly.
How the heck did you meet him and then this whole project come to be?
So I'd been reenacting Vietnam for a while, or a couple years at that point, and my friend Chris Causley at the Michigan Military Technical and Historical Society knew of a documentary shooting called Detroit, the City of Hot Rods and Muscle Cars, and they were looking to do like a flashback scene about these 3 Vietnam vets that served together, worked on cars together. That's how they bonded after the war. So there was a flashback scene where you see their 3 younger selves, and he got me in contact with the director. We had an interview. We had what's it called, like a line reading or whatever, and he casted me as one of those guys. So we went up to Tawas at the property of John Kolhavi, who was a very good friend of Skip's, to shoot some of the scenes and shoot at the Tawas Lighthouse and all that. And that's where I met Skip. And I remember we were shooting some pictures where we were in like Vietnam gear. I had all my personal stuff, and I kind of told them what they needed to do and how to outfit people, and so did Chris. So the other 2 actors were in their uniforms, and I come out fully out in like a Vietnam impression, and I remember seeing Skip there, and he just like looked like wide-eyed and like pulled out his phone and like took a picture all sneaky, and I was like, oh, I need to talk to him. So him and I got to talking, found out he was a Vietnam vet, learned a bit about his story. And I mentioned like offhand that I scan old films, and I showed him some of the stuff I've scanned before. Like I go to antique stores and estate sales and find old films and scan them. So I was telling him about that, and he was like, well, when I was in Vietnam, I shot a whole bunch of Super 8. I've never seen it though. And I was like, what? Never? He was like, yeah, I sent it back home, never saw it. And I was like, do you want to see it? And he was like, yeah, that'd be cool. Here's my number. And got in contact with him, and he sent me all the footage, and it ended up being over 3 hours of footage that I all scanned myself. And as I scanned it, I was like, oh, this is amazing. I want to ask him about this. And I had just gotten like really into documentary filmmaking. I was like, I can turn this into a documentary.
Right.
Like he probably has a really interesting story. So I asked him if he wanted to be interviewed, and he was like, yeah, sure, come over. So I went to his house and with a list of questions and showed him all the footage for the first time and got his reactions, asked him about his tour, asked him about his life. And it was just like the pieces aligned to make a film.
So he gave you the films without looking at them for you to be able to digitize and...
Yep.
Wow.
He'd never seen
never
it.
even looked at it.
He sent them all back to the States, and just they sat in an attic, and then they sat in a basement, and they'd been there for over 50 years.
Wow.
And he'd never seen them. He just didn't want to when he got back.
I would imagine.
And as time went on, he didn't have a projector anymore, and like just didn't have a way to see them anymore. And I was like, wow, I can like digitally scan them, put it on your computer so you can see it like whenever you want. You don't have to thread it up on a projector or risk damaging it or all that. And he was like, yeah, it'd be pretty cool. And it was pretty cool.
And it was
very cool.
pretty cool. So I'm sure, here you are watching all these, you now for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you had to have had a whole host of questions for him. What was it like being there? Because I can tell you my reaction watching the film, but what was it like for you being there, asking him questions, and then watching him?
It was like I had made my like little thoughts and theories about like, oh, maybe this was like over here and they were doing this, and some of this footage was like, I had little stories, and watching him tell like the actual stories behind the footage, I was like, oh, and the pieces started to connect because I didn't know what order they were in. Like Kodak stamps dates on their boxes for when the film expires,
Right.
but that's not necessarily when they shot it. So I had like a rough order that I thought, and some of them had dates that I thought they went in, and as we watched them, I was like, oh, I should have showed this first and this second, and put them in chronological order. And just hearing his stories was just so incredible. It's what made me fall in love with like documentary filmmaking, really, was just hearing these stories. And he was just, it's such an important thing, and such like a vulnerable thing for someone to open up to you about like their traumatic experiences, and about especially being so long ago, and how Vietnam vets were received when they returned.
Right.
It's such like an intimate thing for them to open up to you and tell you about these stories. And like you'll see in the film, he does get emotional, but the only time he ever got emotional was talking about leaving his wife to come back to Vietnam after leave.
See, I just got goosebumps. That was the one that got me.
Yeah.
That was tough. And there's Judy in the background just doing dishes or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
while
Judy's
you were
running around.
filming.
I could
and
not get her to sit down. She was running around. She was making dinner. We took a break from the interview to eat dinner. She's so sweet. Skip and Judy are both so sweet.
What an amazing relationship. And and that was a very poignant part for me to watch that. And then coming back, he lost it, I lost it. It starts with the Bob Hope, when Bob Hope and the troops, came to do the special for the troops. And I thought he poked holes in the sign for the wind.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, that wasn't, for anyone who hasn't watched it, you'll just have to, trust me, and well, don't trust me, just watch it. It's not that long of a documentary, but it was like, wow, there's ingenuity.
Oh, yeah.
Never even really, okay, but I guess you think of those things when you're there.
Yeah, he was
The
like,
love
"Wanna
for
make it
his,
nice? Put
the love
holes in
for
the
his
sign?"
wife, and and you're in that, like, boy, I'm watching the footage and thinking how far away from home. They don't really know the course of everything. They have their view of what's going on and what they're dealing with. And he never really, my understanding is, he wasn't on the front lines at least.
Not
But
really.
he supported all those troops through machinery and everything that he had done, but still was getting bombed in areas where he was staying.
Oh, absolutely. And he still got his time like in the jungle, where he became volunteered to become a door gunner. Like he could have stayed a Huey mechanic and just stayed on base and fixed Hueys the whole time, but they had a new ship in the unit and needed volunteers for a door gunner, and he volunteered. So he would fly in, support the infantry, like drop them off, fly off, come back, pick up casualties, pick up the rest of the infantry, carry out wounded guys.
Wow.
So he wasn't living in the jungle like some of the leg infantry units, but he did see
it firsthand, didn't he?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and filmed it firsthand, at least not combat.
Right.
Or you see in the film where he was like, people ask me all the time if I could film like during a combat assault. Well, I couldn't stick my camera somewhere and just have it go on the
And have the
M60.
gun. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that does make sense.
It makes a lot of sense. Yeah, he was, and it's interesting probably from an artist, because you are an artist. So an artist, oftentimes I think you approach things, at least I like to think of it this way, more wholeheartedly and genuinely. And he must have sensed that safe place for him to be able to be vulnerable. So thank you for making that safe space for him,
Well,
so
thank
we
you.
can hear that story in that documentary. I mean, it really is. It's a worthwhile watch. I truly enjoyed it. So did this make, so tell me about the film after you were done with it, and did it make the circuit? How, does it, like, how does that work? What do you do? Do you promote it in some way?
So I made like an Instagram page, and like I posted stuff on TikTok, and just like trying to get the word out there. I made some trailers and put them on YouTube, and made posts with Skip's photos and like an excerpt of an interview with him telling the story that has to do with the photos, and started promoting it that way. It went to film festivals. It only showed at two. It showed at the Lake Michigan Film Festival and the, or was it the Lake Michigan Film Festival? I can't remember, but it showed at a film festival here in Michigan. And it showed at the San Francisco Veterans Film Festival,
nice.
which I wasn't able to go to, which is too bad, but they were like 2 days apart, and I was like, I flew from Savannah to Michigan, and I was like, I'm not flying from here to San Francisco and then back to Savannah. But it showed at those two festivals, won 2 awards, won the John Prusak Visionary Award at the first one for film like most unique in concept, and won Best Student Feature at the other one. So it had a short festival run of just 2 festivals, but that's okay.
Oh my gosh, what do you mean that's okay? That's fantastic that it won, that. I think it's fantastic. And both of those are worthy venues to have the, I mean, especially if it's Lake Michigan or somewhere up that way. I mean, there's a lot of film festivals that get audience there. And obviously anywhere in California, north or south, those are great venues. So I think that's fantastic. It really was an original concept.
I hadn't seen anything like it before. That's why I knew there was a story there.
I already, talked about the whole R&R and coming back after Christmas. That one really choked me up.
That was like, I showed him those clips in a different order, where I showed him, like, and I had to reorder them in editing, where I showed him the R&R clip before the Bob Hope clip. So when we got done with R&R and he was still emotional, I am kind of glad that I didn't know the right order and showed him that one after, because he perked up immediately.
Oh, good.
After like thinking about leaving Judy, and because they weren't married yet, leaving Judy to come back to Vietnam, and then I'd said, well, this next one is called Bob Hope Christmas Show, and his eyes lit up, and he was like, really? I was like, yeah, you shot 6 reels worth of it, and he was like, wow. And somebody says a lot, holy smokes. He says that all the time.
He did say holy smokes. I was waiting for some cuss words. He was so proper.
Yeah. He said like, can I swear?
Yeah.
He said like shit once.
Yeah.
And that was like it.
That was it, yeah. Oh my gosh. So he obviously long retired, had a good life with everything that he learned from his Army days and serving, and went back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fantastic. Would you ever answer the call to duty? Wouldn't that be?
I'm not sure.
Are you? That's a tough question for me to even ask you, because I don't know that I could do that. It's just such a different time that we're in, right? I think if you were forced, you'd do what you had to do. But nowadays, I feel like it is so technical, right? And it's more intellectual than it is on the ground, although there are boots on the ground literally at times. But tough times. I know people who think that Americans should continue on after, there's a theory, after high school and go on and just have to serve some level of time in
kind of like
the
they do
armed
in
forces.
South Korea and all that.
Yeah, that should be part of it. So, that's an interesting concept. And, patriotism really has kind of, sadly, sometimes it's a bad word that people think of as a patriot, but it really shouldn't be. We should be very patriotic, and I'm honored that we can live the spoiled lives, because I think he even said it. We are spoiled. We're spoiled a lot, aren't we? And complaining. I had to take my car to the dealer yesterday, and it was a long journey just to do what I had to do with it, and it ended up being like the whole day. And I just kept telling myself, first world problems, stop. It isn't that bad. Look what's going on in other parts. Just stop. It is not that bad. And we are very privileged.
Yeah, and to not have like open conflict here in America, like we really never have, other than the Civil War and the Revolutionary War, which are not within living memory anymore.
Right.
Like, a ground invasion of America is just not on the cards for the most part. So we don't have to deal with what, other countries in Europe and
right.
the Middle East are dealing with, where they do have that threat all the time of conflict breaking out in their home and losing everything, and we don't have that.
Right.
And it's like such a privilege to be able to have that like safety net over
Absolutely.
everyone, and that's something that we don't have to worry about.
And that's what I love. What we do here at the War Memorial is very much honor those who have served, so that we can like live our lives and enjoy our lives. And it's a wonderful thing. The least we can do
For the people
for
who provide that
our brothers
safety
and
net.
sisters who did that. Absolutely. Well, so tell me, what is next for you?
So I actually just finished up my senior thesis film, which at SCAD you have to make, everyone either directs or works on a certain number of thesis films, where it's like a culmination of your 4 years, make a movie, and you come out with something to show to people and say, hey, I have a degree and I made this movie, hire me please. So that's where I'm at right now. But I made, it's another documentary, it's a short called Real Fake War, and it again ties into history and reenacting. It's about a good friend of mine, Travis Truax, who served in Afghanistan in 2013 in the Marine Corps. And when he got back, he started reenacting in high school. And when he got back, he started reenacting again. And reenacting now is a way for him to deal with his PTSD and relive the combat that he experienced in a safe way. Like he says, in the film, he says, reenacting, he knows, like if his buddy gets shot and killed right next to him, he knows in 20 minutes he's just going to get up. And in real war, that's not the case. So he's able to relive his combat experiences in like a safe way and start working through it. And the camaraderie of reenacting is a lot of what helped him. When he got out of the Marine Corps, that's something he missed, where he wasn't living with his friends all the time. He wasn't around like a group of guys that you were just so bonded through what they've experienced. And that's something he missed and that he found through reenacting. So the film has his footage from Afghanistan intercut with him at a reenactment, and you see how those two worlds are colliding for him while he's reenacting.
Wow.
That's about to start its festival run. So haven't gotten any acceptances yet, still waiting on that. There's an Instagram page, Real Fake War Film, follow it.
That sounds powerful.
I think it was.
That
Like I
sounds
think
really
it was
powerful.
successful in what I was trying to do. Like we had a screening, all the thesis films at SCAD, they all go through and have a screening. It's called Senior Showcase. And that was a couple weeks ago, and my film showed in the very last block, because they have blocks of 6 to 8 films that show, and apparently I've been told if you're in the last block, that means the higher ups really like it. So that was pretty cool. And I guess they liked it so much that I had no idea this was a thing until I got the email that the college will cover admission fees to 15 festivals. And my film got in that, and I didn't know that was a thing until I got the email.
Right, because that has to cost a few bucks to
Oh yeah, that saved me hundreds of bucks. They submitted to 15 festivals, including Sundance, South by Southwest.
Nice.
I don't think I have a snowball's chance in hell of getting into Sundance. But
think big.
it being submitted is very cool, so I'm not going to complain about it at all.
Add that to the resume. It was submitted.
Yeah, at least it was submitted, and I didn't pay for it, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's a wonderful thing. Oh my gosh. Well, you talked about his particular journey, and one of the things that we're learning here, we have partnered with Brett Pulte, who is running the cameras behind the scenes here. He and Alex, who oversees our Veterans Committee, connected with these veteran navigators, and there's one for the Tri-County area, and and what we've learned through them is that transition is the tough. Transitioning to civilian life is really a challenge, and so it's what your friend is experiencing. That he found an outlet is amazing.
Exactly. That's what we wanted to explore in the film, and kind of what I want to explore going forward is how do people that have experienced war and conflict and all these horrors find an outlet after they're out.
Right.
Especially with Skip and and TJ and a lot of other people, pretty much every veteran I've talked to is you go through these terrible experiences, and even in peacetime, the military is not fun.
Yeah.
What TJ says is nothing has ever sucked so hard while being so fun. And even though like every veteran I talk to talks about how much it sucked and how like hard it was all the time, but at the same time they wouldn't trade it for the world. And if they had to go back and do it again, they wouldn't a heartbeat.
Wow.
So after you get out, where like with TJ was talking about how there's no training to be a civilian, and he had been in the military for years. He came right out of high school and went right into the Marine Corps. So he said there's like no class on how to be a civilian. There's nobody's going to tell you what to do. You just kind of do it.
Right.
And after being in the Marine Corps for so long and being to Afghanistan and being deployed to Europe and pretty much all over the world, like you're done. One day your contract's over and you get out, and then that's it.
And here,
you're
good
done.
luck. Figure it out. Yeah.
And you just have to enter the world and figure out how to be a civilian.
Yeah.
Which is, from everyone that I've talked to, obviously I can't speak on it, but like on personal experience.
Same.
But everyone I've talked to is like, it's the same story where they're like, what do I do? Like, how do I go about this? What outlet can I find? And TJ's outlet is reenacting.
Yeah, that camaraderie too. They're part of
Exactly.
something and they're alone.
Yeah.
I'm grateful we have evolved from veterans from World War II, World War I. Vietnam suffered still, but we offer so much now as a society. Like I mentioned, the veteran navigators, but I mean, there are programs, there are people, there's us at the War Memorial who offer a lot of programming. I mean, this whole year is focused on the anniversary of the end of the 50th anniversary of the end of Vietnam, and everything that we're doing is all remembrance. I suppose a celebration of them and who they are, and you're featured for this month with the month of June, which is fantastic.
Yeah, that's great.
And
Thank you.
You're welcome. And but we also offer that camaraderie for them to come see us as what we call our vet to vet, and it's really just again a safe space. Just come, hang out. We usually get a little bit of programmatic things we have coming up, but it's a platform if they want to talk about their own personal things that are going on, or I've often thought, like, we got to get a deck of cards and get poker games going. But in July, we're having it outside. It's been in the morning, but trying to get the younger veterans to come. So we're going to have kind of a really nice event set up. Brett, what do we have set up for July? Don't we have, like, cornhole and...
A lot of backyard games. I know we've got like the axe throwing things. We had
axe throwing.
Right.
Whoa! So
That
axe
sounds like
throwing, cornhole, other yard games. Yeah, it'll be fun. Beverages and all that kind of. Summer beverages, of course.
Yeah. It's great to have that support system and to be able to
Absolutely.
provide that to vets.
Yeah, I think it's really special. Did you have a veteran in your family?
Yeah, my grandfather was in the Air Force in the 50s. My great-great-grandfather served in World War I. He was with the 19th Alberta Dragoons in Canada. I have a pretty long military history, like, in my family.
Yeah.
No one that's currently serving, but, like, getting into family history is, like, I got really into family history for a while. Like, my grandmother has the family Bible.
Aw.
Look through it, read the names all the time. We have pictures of him. Richard Philip Ottewell was the Canadian cavalry soldier. So
my.
got really into that. I think my 5 times great-grandfather is Confederate General John
Wow.
Bankhead Magruder. So and on my other side of the family, there was a Union soldier. So I guess I don't know his name, but
Whoa!
I know that my family was fighting
They were
each other
fighting
during the Civil War.
What were the McCoys and the
The Hatfields
and McCoys?
Oh, yeah.
That's what you had. Wow.
So I've been very interested in family history, and that's kind of what pushes me into reenacting. Is now I'm doing World War I. Like I do World War II, Vietnam. I've been spreading out, but pushing me into doing World War I is I want to put together an impression of my great-great-grandfather, and get to go to an event and portray him and tell his story directly.
Very fun.
Which would just make my life.
Oh, and you'll get there. You're going to do that. So Greenfield Village is the only place I've done that I've seen them.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Holiday nights. I do World War I at holiday nights.
They do it up pretty good there.
Oh, they
I must
do.
say. Yeah.
Us at the World
War
War I display, we have a great time.
They'll actually have all the tents set up and the camps, and it's like, wow, this is like just so cool. I remember taking when the kids were younger, and they're like, yeah. It's hard to get them too excited when they're little tots, but
Yeah.
But as an adult, you're like, this is really cool.
Oh yeah, Greenfield Village is awesome.
Yeah.
I need to go back there now because I haven't been when it's not Christmas for holiday nights and I'm freezing. I just come Like I'm back for winter break from Savannah, and I'm like freezing. Like, oh God, I want to go back down to the south. It's like 70 degrees there.
Definitely. No, you've got to go in the summer. So they probably will do it. I wonder if they do it around the 4th of July. They may be. You know, next year we got to have the whole America 250, so there's going to be a lot going on next year.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's going to go crazy. We're going to have you back for something then, okay? So we'll have to figure it out.
I'll be back for that.
There's a lot here happening, and I think a lot of what we do here really dovetails into your interests too. So I am super excited about this conversation. Thank you for spending time, especially just coming back from Savannah.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. So tell folks how to reach you if they're interested in, you know, finding out more about you or using your services.
Okay, well, I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube. Almost all of them are under some form of TPD. It's my initials. So TPD Photos on Instagram and TikTok, TPD Productions on YouTube. You can find me in Victory Journal on History Fix, where you can also find Skip Liberty shooting in Vietnam, the film we've been talking about. And it's a Michigan-based streaming service, so if you're based here in Michigan, support the Michigan film industry. It's a little not what it used to be, so your support would be appreciated. But yeah, that's how you can find me. Reach out to me, DM me, thoughts, feelings, whatever you think about the film. I'd love to hear it. Rated on Letterboxd. Yeah, that's about it.
I love it, and I wish the film industry had more going in Michigan.
I do too.
Yeah, well, that's a whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
So we could talk about that too. To our listeners, please come see Tommy, and Skip himself will be here. So we're really excited on June 18th. So come check it out. It is free. Register at warmemorial.org so we can make sure we have enough chairs for you. So we just would appreciate that. And I hope that you've enjoyed this podcast. If you like it, just please support us. Click on the box and say yes, thumbs up. Follow us, and we're on all social media at War Memorial. And certainly, if you're interested in upcoming events, we are come check our website out, warmemorial.org. We got lots happening here this summer. So thanks for listening. Till next time. Bye now.